Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about color fields a little bit and what you can do to use those in your drawing or painting. So here I have an example of a color field where the person used blue on white paper, and you can actually see the circular marks that were made by the brush that they're leaving, and they unified the whole piece by actually doing those circular marks throughout this piece of paper. Some areas probably could have been done a little bit better than others. There are some areas where it's not quite unified, but depending on what the person puts on this color field, it might just be fine. Another example of a color field, here I have a board that it was a purple matte board that was used as the background. And then what this person did is they took paint, a little bit of paint, and they actually painted in the background to have that brown or the tan that's in the background throughout the entire board, so that that's used in the background. There is another video that shows me actually using a board like this that you can watch as well. Here I'm going to have to come a little bit closer to the camera for you to be able to see this. So in this color field, the reason I'm coming closer is it was made with gesso, and what this person did is they actually had quite a bit of gesso on there, and when they were taking the brush, what they did is they allowed some areas of the gesso to be higher or thicker than others, and they brushed other parts off where it was like really thin on the board. Once the gesso was dry, this individual then took charcoal and rubbed it over the top so that you can see some of the texture. This will be a really great color field to use for any type of drawing or painting, because you could paint right over the top of it and still have some of that texture show. Another way that you could create a color field is if you used cardboard. You can actually paint right on the surface of the cardboard. You can see that there's actually the corrugation or texture of that corrugation underneath the top layer of the cardboard that shows through the paint. So the one thing that I would caution you about with a color field like this is there's very many horizontal stripes on this color field. It might be kind of hard to add other things to it unless you planned out this as a landscape and somehow had a plan in mind for what you were going to do with that background. A lot of times, like, I would say that this green part would be really great for something either horizontally or vertically. Same thing with the blue area if that had been a whole canvas. But having these stripes in here is going to be really difficult to deal with unless you are a more advanced student. Another color field that I want to show you is this one that is violet and yellow. And you'll see the lavender that's in here as well, because what was happening is this person put both the violet and the yellow on the board at the same time. And then they took a paintbrush and they were wiping it vertically on the board. This middle part is really lovely. It might have been nice if they had some more of those dark, deep violets on the left side here, as well as a little bit more of the bright yellow. And same thing, up in here, it would have been nicer to see some more of those violets and yellows mixed throughout to keep that more unified before they start working on it. One last thing that you could do, and I get that this one looks very unfinished. I am going to come closer again so that you can see this, but what you're going to see in this one is there's actually glue added to the surface of the board here. So you can actually see where the person added glue, and then they actually put a piece of tissue paper over the top, and it started to bleed into the glue, which the student didn't actually like, and then they pulled it off, and what happened is it left this really unique texture. If they had used more of those same colors of tissue paper throughout this piece and unified the entire board, you could actually use that as a color field as well. It's not to say that you couldn't actually even go back in here with the same colors and unify what's going on already. And again, the nice thing about this is there's these areas where there's glue, and that's going to pick up any of the texture that's in here. The person went back in with another chalk pastel to give it another layer of color. So you're seeing one layer of color on top of another, and it's really nice. It would create a really nice drawing.